May 25th, 2022. This is the Raj and Smitty Show, the first of many, many, many to come. What's up, Smitty? How you doing, man?
I'm good, bro. I'm good. A lot of news to talk about today, right?
Yeah, there's
I mean,
actually
Grant.
quite a.
Yeah. I'm just checking to make sure the stream's on your YouTube right now. Yeah. Okay, we're good. Yeah. So, what did you want to talk about first? This Grant Cohn stuff, or anything else?
Let's get right to it. So yesterday night on Instagram, we talked about the whole Grant Cohn, the beef. It was crazy. It was live. It was vibing. It's just like the talk of the town last night, right? Everybody was talking about how Kinlaw went after Cohn. And today, all the players, Kinlaw's back. Not all of them, but a lot of players, Kittle, Debo, Armstead, some former players like Raheem Mostert, Jaquaski Tard, and players like that, Tabor Pepper. They reached, and Brandon Ayuk even said something today. These players were backing up Kinlaw. So after all that stuff happened today, Grant Cohn and Javon Kinlaw, apparently they squashed the beef. They buried the hatchet today. Let's play the video, shall we? Let's play the video, and then we'll talk about it. Let me play the video. So I posted this on Instagram and YouTube. Here we go.
We got full show for you today. But before we get into the I just want to say right off the bat, you guys are So what I want to say is I appreciate Javon Kinlaw for meeting me. And I respect him, deep appreciation.
So they went to John Lynch's office. That's the best part of it all. They went to John Lynch's office and they told each other how they felt. It's like they got invited to the principal's office. John Lynch said, listen, man, you get your ass here. You want to cover this team? You come here. Javon Kinlaw, you want to play for this team? Get in here. Let's figure this out. And they squashed the beef. I guess that's a good ending to all of this. What are your thoughts on this, Smitty? Go ahead and say what you got to say about this.
I mean, like a couple things go through my mind. Like, number one, it's like, first of all, addressing the situation. Kinlaw was completely out of line, out of bounds, like should not have handled it the way he did. And people come to his defense and say like, oh, he's, where he came from. No, I'm sorry. You're a professional athlete and you got to carry yourself a certain way when you're making millions of dollars. You're in the NFL. You're a first round pick. Even if you weren't, even if you were a walk on, even if you were unrestricted free agent, like you're in the NFL, you have a certain obligation to act a certain way. Bottom line, it doesn't matter. It makes no difference. Like, I understand that could be a reason why he acts a certain way, and you got to have more understanding, and if he wants to make amends and whatever, I get all that. But Grant also has this weird, like he's I scream and yell, and I talk about players all the time. Like you could say that if I've run into a player or two that probably would have a problem with the way I've talked about their play on the field and stuff. Like I expect that, but I'm also not. That's what I do full time. Grant does it like part time, then does the other thing part time. Like, I'm not saying it's not a full time job for him, but he's doing these two different roles. One is in the media. He's a media person in the locker room, in the media room, has the media credentials. Represents SI, right? I suppose when he's there. I don't know if he represents SI when he's in the facility or how he's got his credentials through, who he's got him through. But he's part YouTube shock jock person, part professional writer, beat writer, reporter. And I think that when you blur those two lines or when you merge those two worlds, it's weird. And I think that Grant has a little bit more of a responsibility than, let's say, I do, to act a certain way. And I think once he crosses over to his realm on YouTube, it's a free world. He probably is, I'm sure SI is fine with him creating his YouTube channel and getting big and then bringing all those people over to SI. So it's, you know, I know he definitely isn't crossing a line by doing the YouTube channel, but I think he rubs people the wrong way because he does what he does in a way that agitates people, pokes and prods at people. And I think there's just a different level of professionalism that's expected of him. And he blurs these two worlds too quickly. So it was weird. It's a weird situation. I'm glad that it's squashed. It's strange that they're in Kyle's office. That was weird, but I don't know. I mean, it's good it's over, but like, is anything going to happen to Kinlaw? Is it fine now that they squashed it? Grant was talking some weird, like if he got, you know, hit, he could retire. And he made a couple weird comments that rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. And that's what triggered Armstead and a lot of people to go to bat for Kinlaw, is because he made a really like stupid statement. He shouldn't have said what he said when he said that if I was thinking for a moment, if he hits me, then I could retire and I get $1 million lawsuit. Like, players don't want to hear that. And I don't think the Niners want to hear that. The Niners don't want to have someone in their media room credentialed that's having those thoughts and then actually prodding players to the point where they almost do it. Like, it's not like somebody made a weird comment like, hey, if that happened, that'd be cool. Like, he's literally pushing this guy Kinlaw to knock his hat off, go chest to chest with them, and then makes a comment like, oh, if I got hit, I'd have $1 million lawsuit on my hands. I just think he's rubbing a lot of people the wrong way right now. And I respect a lot of what he does. I think he obviously knows what he's doing, creating an audience, but what cost, I don't know.
I agree with that. I think at the end of the day, like he does a great job of his content. He knows what he's doing. He knows how to get the likes. He knew exactly what he was doing yesterday. He, poked the bear. He said it. He tweeted that out. He had Kinlaw on the live, and of course, Kinlaw reacted on emotion. Again, I know Kinlaw shouldn't have acted that way. He's an athlete. He's, paid millions of dollars. I get it. But at some point, you reach a breaking point, and we talked about this last night. I think he did reach his breaking point. Definitely don't think he handled it the best way. The way he handled it. He's a human being with emotion, and I think he came charged with emotion last night. And emotions get the best of us, unfortunately, sometimes. And he definitely let the emotions get to him. But he's been, poked and prod since he was drafted. Everybody expected him to be DeForest Buckner, and there's been stress on him. He's always injured, and then there's a lot of times when you're at the injury and you're having, you get stressed out, man. You get to this boiling point, and your just body just reaches its tipping point. Snap, man. That's what he did last night, and he's mad that A, he's not treated like a human from Grant. B, he's felt like he's treated like an animal, and I think that's what the resentment from a lot of these players is. And they said that. They said, you got to treat people like they're humans, and that's what he said. He said basically they're dehumanizing. And whether we agree with that or not, that's the way these players. And when players came to bat for him, you could kind of see that's how they felt. And I think the other issue was, I think you hit the nail on the head. The fact that he came out and said, "Oh yeah, I was hoping to get $1 million." He wants to. Whether he's joking or not, he said it, and that rubbed players the wrong way. That pissed them off. The players are like, dude, how can you sit there and say you want to antagonize us to the point where you have us put our hands on you? Yeah, you get a big settlement. But I think that pissed players off, and they went to bat for Kinlaw because it got to the point where, Grant Cohn, he's been saying all this stuff, whether you believe it or not, like, he's a realist. He's not making rose-colored glasses. He gives different takes that people don't like sometimes, and sometimes it gets under player skins, and eventually it was going to catch up with Grant, and it finally caught up with them yesterday. But hey, the beef is squashed for now. How it works. I think he's going to continue. Be a better player. I just want the season and myself. He hasn't really had that on the team. Now I think he can be ACL surgery. And if he's healthy, nobody should talk about him. But if he's not healthy, he said it. I'm not. If I don't have a good season, come at me and attack me and talk bad on my name. He said it. He invited it. If they play bad, or if he plays bad, he's well. Hey, beef is squashed. I'm happy. Let's move on. Let's talk about other stuff. That was night, man. That whole situation bad. But yeah, I went to the principal's office, John Lynch's office, and that was the kind of interesting
let
to
me
me.
say, let me say one more thing. Someone was saying they couldn't hear you very well. You're crackling. I don't know if you're on Wi-Fi or on whatever, but sometimes I turn that off if it's not, and then go on the 5G or whatever. But so here's what I have to say on that, like that, and then we'll close the door on it. Is Grant okay? So at what expense is all this? All this is good for him, sure. Has he gained 500, subscribers on YouTube from it? I don't even know if he's gained that many. I've looked at it. I don't think it's as big as you think, but is it worth it? Because now he's going to be completely stonewalled by the players. No one, not one single player, not even Robbie Gold is going on his show. He's literally isolated himself from having any connection to 49ers relating to his show. Maybe he doesn't care about that. Maybe he does. I don't know. I would care about that if my job was to cover one team. I would not want to isolate myself from the entire roster. And that's what he's done. He's isolated himself. Can you guys hear me okay? Someone was saying it was pausing, but I'm not sure.
We got to work out the kinks on this video, unfortunately. Sorry, first show hitters, little things we got to fix out. So I apologize. It's my fault.
So I don't know if anybody, can you guys let us know if you can hear me okay? But basically, this guy is going to get stonewalled by every single player on this roster. And you know what it reminds me of, Raj? When his reporting style, like as much as people want to defend him, like I think people are too quick to defend him. And here's what I think. When there's a Democrat president in the office and there's a Republican reporter asking questions, or if there's a Republican president in office and there's a Democrat reporter asking questions, where it's just divisive, like, so if let's say it's a Republican up on the podium, it's a president, and the Democrat reporter's like, well, yeah, but did you do this? Or did you do that? Like, I feel like that's how Grant is. He's going up against the team as if he's the opposition. And that's kind of his approach. Like, he's not asking positive questions most of the time. And he gets egged on by the Niner community to ask the tough questions, right? Let's ask the tough questions. Far too often, that's all he's about. Like, I think he so badly feels like he needs to be the voice for the tough questions. He doesn't realize that he's a negative, influence in persona in there, and he's creating this divide. And he feels like he's there to just pick and poke at the opposing party. So he's the Republican or Democrat versus the opposite president at the podium. And that's how I feel. Like when you watch press conferences with the president and that happens, you're like, God, no one can get along. This is Grant Cohn. His job is to not get along and ask the tough questions, which we want the tough questions asked, Raj. Of course we do. But that's all he does. And what's he going to do now? What's he going to do now?
I don't know. I think he still has to come up with, the tough questions. But you're right. That's all he does. And I think sometimes it just gets to the point where it's overkill. He ruffles people's feathers. Like sometimes too much of something's just not, that's just, there can be some too much of something. I think it's just too. Sometimes it's funny. It's like, and again, he knows what he's doing. He drives up his likes and stuff, but sometimes it's just overkill of a good thing, right? How people say, how can you have too much of good thing? There can be. And that's what Grant is. Sometimes he needs to chill back and mix it up, some variety. But hey, again, he knows what he's doing for his content. That's what he does. That's his MO. But maybe this is a learning experience. And he did say that this was a great learning experience for him. And we'll see how he moves on from there. But this was a crazy situation. I think you're right. He poked the bear to the point where the bear exploded. And again, I don't know if he could have handled himself. I'll agree with that. The man was pissed off. I think constantly got just pissed off to the point where he's like, I can't back to my name. That's RAC. But he got there and even I don't agree with that. And he's come out as he understands he needs to go out there and prove himself. So
Yeah, I think it's possible that the reception in there with doing the getting a guest on might be hampering the connection for you. But
Yeah.
yeah, man, I don't know what to say. The bottom line is I think Grant made a lot of mistakes. You what? You what, Rush? I think they said they can. I think they said they can hear me okay. There's just cutting it out on your end, but I'm not sure if that's still holding true. But it's fine.
We got to work the. That's tough. I got to figure that out.
Maybe are you on? Do you have a strong Wi-Fi connection where you're at?
No, I'm not on Wi-Fi. I turned my Wi-Fi off.
Not sure. They're saying mine's coming in clear. I don't know. It's weird that I'm coming in. I think we're both feeding into Restream, so I'm not going to hold the stream back necessarily if my connection's good and you wouldn't hold it back. But I'm not sure if it's. They're saying that I'm coming in clear, but yeah. Bottom line, Raj, I think he made a lot of mistakes. Kinlaw made a lot of mistakes. I don't think there's any winners here. Everyone's going to say Grant did great at first, but I don't necessarily know that he's going to feel that way at the end of the day, because the damage it's going to do to his relationship with the team that he's covering is not going to be that repairable. Like Kinlaw may have shook his hand, but if you notice, Grant Cohn didn't say anything like, "Oh, we're fine." He just said he said what he had to say. We shook hands. It's over.
He didn't say he
did it.
Yeah, he didn't apologize.
Yeah, he didn't say anything that was like, "Oh, we're good, like we're bros now." It's all like he just basically said he said what he had to say. We shook hands, and so it was very, very vague how it got patched up. But that doesn't tell me that he's going to be on good terms with any of these players. Like these players were going at him, and they're all banding together, which was kind of cool, to see the team rally around.
That rallied around this, and it's like good for the locker. Like the other day, he got this team to rally around each other. It's kind of funny how it worked out. You had Deebo Samuel reposting stuff. Like, bro, Deebo Samuel's the last person expected to be reposting stuff, and he did.
Right.
He said, "What was Grant Cohn? This is why I blocked his ass. He's been doing too much." Like these players bond. So it was a bonding day. It was crazy.
but Raj, like, so I cover the whole NFL, like, because Grant and I have a similar, like, I want to say like a similar. I don't want to say I don't want to say Grant and I are the same in terms of our approach or whatever, but we have a similar like edginess to our shows or whatever. But I cover the entire. You what?
I would say you kind of have a Grant Cohn vibe sometimes, but you're not like.
He has a Smitty vibe. He has a Smitty vibe. I don't have a Grant Cohn. Like when people say that, it bothers me because I don't know that he was doing this before I was, and if he was, I don't know. Like I know he got big real quick, but anyway, regardless, I have a little bit of an edge to my show, but I cover the entire NFL, and I'm compartmentalized in that I cover fantasy football as well. I'm an NFL show, not just a fantasy show, but he's a Niner show. He's a Niner show, Raj. Yeah. He's isolated himself from the one team that he's covering. He's cut off his ties to these players. He's literally handcuffed himself. And I just don't know that it was a smart, like if he could undo it, I bet he would. I don't think that this is going to benefit him. He probably grew a little bit, but I don't think in the end it's going to help his brand. I think it's one of those things where he takes off from it and then it just comes crashing down. Not that he's going to not be popular or people won't watch him, but I'm getting like at first it was like a positive vibe, and now I'm seeing people level out, and people aren't real excited about him right now in general. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I think he definitely gonna burn out. I think, yeah, you're right. He's gonna get a little pop from this, but I think eventually it'll pass. Like all things pass. I think eventually it's gonna work. Gonna overstay as well. Get tired of it. He's got a 15 minutes of fame. Right? Eventually, that's gonna wear out. So he's trying to get as he can from that 15 minutes to fame, but it's definitely crazy. That's true. When I see, like, first saw you, I was like, man, this guy's got an edge to him. And that's, I guess you're like our superstar. People say you look like Edge. You really are like Edge. You're the rated R superstar of podcasts and YouTube out there. You're the rated R superstar, Smitty. I love you. And I think Grant Cohn has a little bit of Smitty in him. He does have that Smitty vibe.
Yeah, there we go.
What? You guys both
there we
have.
Go. I don't mind that. I just.
Okay, I'll clean it up for you. You guys both have that edge to you. I think both of you guys have crazy takes. Not crazy, but you guys have hot takes.
Yeah.
Grant does it because he knows he can stir the pot. And you stir the pot too sometimes. Let's keep it a buck. You do stir the pot.
I do.
But
I admit it.
A lot of times you do it and you're right. And I'm like, God, this motherfucker. Like when we first started talking to Smitty, I was like, I got this guy wrong. But you were always, and I was like, you know what, man? Talk about. Sometimes he pisses me off, but he knows what he's talking about.
Well, I appreciate that. But yeah, I mean, Grant, I don't know. We'll see how it ends up for him. But I just think that a year from now, I wonder if he would hit an undo button if he could. Like, I don't, some people think virality is good, and it can be. But most of the time when you go ultra viral, a majority of what happens at a grand scale isn't exactly in the wheelhouse that you want. Like, it ends up brushing up against a group of people or patches of people within the same community that you're targeting, but it's different than you expect. It comes flooding in almost an unuseful way. Like, that's what I've learned about content creation and YouTube and things. Like, I had a guy tell me one time, I'm telling you, Raj, this guy went from 0 to 1 million followers in a month. And he's in a different genre. It's not in sports. It was in like, kind of like the PewDiePie and gaming stuff world. He went from 0 to 1 million followers. And he told me he would much rather have a 20,000 channel account that he grew from the ground up than to have a 1 million follower YouTube channel that doesn't do him any good. And I'm not saying Grant's got this huge amount of people that have flooded over. He hasn't even grown that much on his YouTube channel from this. I'm just saying it's going to cast a shadow and a light on him that might be different than he anticipates. Not having access to players like Raj, how useful and how fun and how much a part of the show is Eric Davis coming in or Kittle in the chat like, without that, you'd be devastated. It would be like a whole different show. Like, Grant's not going to have any of that. Yeah. He's completely ruined and destroyed any relationship he has with the NFL.
Well, right now he still does. I think that's why he knew he had to go today. He squashed the beef. I think that was the first step, and he wants to move forward from this. He's like, shit, I gotta move. But you're right. If he keeps doing this, he's gonna ruin his relationships with the people. Because it's what George Kittle. I love what George Kittle said. He kept the most real out of everybody today. So let's pull up what Kittle said. He said, like, it's crazy to me that someone allowed into our building has antagonized and irritate players with their end game of being this. I thought players and reporters were supposed to work together. Being in this building, let alone this league, is an opportunity. It's not a right. People get really comfortable typing behind a screen. Everyone is entitled to their own opinion, but continuing to go after a player habitually seems like someone whose goal isn't to report or write a story. So I think you're right, basically echoing and say, hey, look, this is an opportunity. Like, I would love, Smitty, if I had the opportunity to go out there and interview players and do all that stuff, be like, oh my God, this is amazing. And I would make sure I would take the most opportunity. And I don't think that Grant doesn't take the most of his opportunity. But I think if he keeps pissing people off and going about the way he does, you're right, he might lose. And what's he do? Just like you said, if I were to, that's the thing, like, it's hard. So I do want to terrible. The players see it, they come on my page and they'd be pissed. They wouldn't come on my page. They wouldn't come on. And I love the interaction between the players. So there's a right way and a wrong way. And again, I think that at the end of the day, learned a lesson. He says he has. Let's see what happens from here. But hey, let's close that chapter. They've closed the door on the chapter. Is there anything you want to go over tonight?
No,
That's worth
hit
our
some
while.
news. Raj, I'll be right back. Just to hit the news. I'll be right back. I gotta do something real quick.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I haven't. But there really was tomorrow OTAs is back. We got for the next couple of weeks. That right there is what we're focused on. I'm excited about the team and the direction. Trey Lance, I'm excited for the Trey Lance era and the camp battles. There's a lot of camp battles out on the line, cornerback, a lot of great camp. We'll see what happens in the weeks. I don't know about you, but I am super excited to see all these players get their opportunities. It's fun to see, especially Trey Lance. So, yeah, what's up, Smitty? Welcome back.
Yeah, yeah, I'm excited, bro. I'm so excited for Trey. I can't wait for Trey to prove all these haters wrong. He's already doing it. Like the vibe is already different than the haters expected. A lot of the people talking about Trey is different than everybody that hated on him and predicted him to bust. All the stuff that's going on with Trey right now is completely heading in a direction that is contrary to what all the haters have been hoping to see. And it's so weird though, Raj. I keep saying it. Like, why does the Niner fan base have a group of people that is near half the fan base, it feels like, or at least 20 or 30% of it, that's like literally rooting against him? I don't understand it at all. Like, why there's such divisiveness within it.
We talk about that all the time. How is everybody hating on the guy? Like, make it make sense to me. Everybody should be excited about this guy, because slowly, I think you could see everybody's kind of getting excited. Like yesterday, when people saw 10 of them on there, they're like, okay, this guy's kind of. I think it's the media. The media controls narrative, and people listen to what the media says, and that's why I think like Grant Cohn, sometimes with his negative thing, people roll with what they hear and they say on they hear these stories. Like, you don't know how many people sat there and believe, Trey Lance overwhelming and pride. You don't know how many people sat there. And I saw other posts on social media. Oh, I thought Trey Lance was under. Like, they believe, they see it written, and they absolutely believe that it's fact. So that's what it is. The media controls the narratives, man. That's it. Unfortunately.
Yeah. But what's going to be fun is like I've said before, I don't like, a lot of people say he's going to have growing pains. It could be, and a lot of people that I respect too. It's not like I feel like they're wrong necessarily about their take, or that I think I know more than them or anything like that. I'm not necessarily saying that, but there are people that I respect greatly, that have played in the NFL. Like even Eric Davis, he'll say something like, 12, 13 wins is too crazy, or, having a good, like, a lot of people will say things like having, a successful year where we, even if we don't necessarily make the playoffs or what, like, I'm not thinking like that at all. And it's not just me wanting to double down on my Trey Lance belief, because I didn't get to watch it come true last year. So a lot of people think, oh, Smitty's just doubling down. He's biased. He just wants it to happen so bad. But no, it's a total projection for me. Like, I see this kid having that Herbert and Joe Burrow season, which they both did in their sophomore years. I'm not expecting growing pains like everybody else. I think like any quarterback, they're going to have good and bad games. That has nothing to do with his sophomore year. Sure, he's got to learn a thing or two, but Patrick Mahomes didn't know how to read a defense in the NFL until his third season. He literally went through his sophomore year, his breakout year. He said he didn't know how to read a defense the entire sophomore season that he broke out and had that monster.
And he broke out, bro.
So people need to relax on the reading a defense thing. People need to relax on the fact that there's offensive line issues because he's a mobile quarterback that is going to be, the defense is automatically stepping back. There's less people stacking the box. Like, this is going to be, I don't want to say it's going to be a cakewalk up by any means. I'm not saying that you guys are just going to march through and just blast through everybody, but this is easily a double-digit win team. Like, in a disappointing sense, it would be like 10, 11 wins would be disappointing. I think it's 12 or 13 wins. I think that the Niners are one of three teams that will make make it to the Super Bowl. It's the Rams, the Bucks, and the Niners to me are the top 3 teams, if I had to guess right now, to fight it out and duke it out for that Super Bowl appearance from the NFC side of things, to face off against probably one of the Chargers, the Bills, or the Broncos if I had to choose. And the Niners are in there. That means that I'm saying that with Trey Lance under center, this 49er team that feels top 10-ish with Jimmy G, they will be, in my opinion. You lost me? They will be, in my opinion, a top 6 team. I think the Niners will be a top 6 team with Trey Lance and the potential to be the last remaining.
I lost you.
Can you guys hear me, or is Raj? Can you not hear Raj? I see myself on screen. Can you hear me, Raj? Can you guys hear me? I'm full screen. Welcome to the RSF 49er show. They can hear me, Raj. I guess I'm left running the switchboard here. Jimmy can hear me. Nutty can hear me. I think Raj might have some Wi-Fi connections issues, whatever. But I guess I'll just keep talking until Raj comes back. You there, Raj?
Yeah, can you hear me? What happened,
man? Everybody
can
hear me. I'm still rolling, bro. I
don't know what happened, man. I think my connection. So in this room, this office room, I think the connection's shitty in here because I'm not using Wi-Fi. This was a good first test run. We get to see what's going on, but obviously it wasn't great. So I apologize. Technical difficulties.
It's fine.
We'll get it better. We'll fix it out. So
let's do it every Wednesday. Let's do it every Wednesday, though. I think that'll be good.
I want to do every Wednesday. Next week we'll have better Wi-Fi. I might just go out and buy a new computer this weekend. Maybe I'll do that. So
yeah, I think maybe because you're trying to do it from the phone. I don't know, but I would probably do it from the pad because I wonder if your Wi-Fi connection's a little bit tough.
Because I'm out of the place, so I'm doing it in this office. But I think I should do it in the house. So I apologize. I'm sorry. Don't follow the channel. Let's fix this up. Let's make it better next time. So I apologize for it.
It's fine, man. It's still good. It's still good stuff.
I mean, it was okay. It could have been better, but you could barely hear me. I was choppity chop today. I already know I was probably choppy. So we'll see.
All right,
I appreciate you, Smitty. So every Wednesday, the Smitty and Rod show, it's official. Moving forward, get used to it. Get ready. It's about to go down every Wednesday. We got to have one of those cool little intros. I got to have you hook me up, fix everything.
Yeah, we got to get logo on screen. We'll help you do it up.
All right, cool. And we'll get a little intro that'll like Grant Cohn. Maybe not Grant Cohn's intro, but we'll get a cool little intro.
Yeah, I'll hook you up.
All right, man. Appreciate you, Smitty.
Yeah, later, guys.
Yeah. All right, man. Later. All right.